Welcome to Real Estate with Ryan. Thank you for tuning in on a Saturday. Always a pleasure to be in the studios with you, with my people, with my fam. Thanks for tuning in. Got a good show for you today. If you're tuning in for the first time, my name is Ryan Coleman, host of Real Estate with Ryan, owner of Hometown Realty. My lovely co-host, Miss April Coleman, is on baby duty. She's on maternity leave. She'll be back soon. I know it. Can't wait to have her in the studio. But she sends all the love and hope you're doing well. Hope everybody's staying safe. And she's with baby Isaac. So he's getting big, guys, getting big. He's 3 months old just officially the other day. And he is long and just a happy baby. He's giving mama all the headaches, all the sleepless nights. Daddy's part of that, but we wouldn't trade it for a minute. And, of course, we've got Kinsley. She's being the great big sister, so it's been super fun times at the Coleman house, but a lot of sleepless nights, and you understand that if you guys have kids and understand that process of a newborn. Got a good show for you. I hope you're doing well. If you're tuning in for the first time, again, Hometown Realty, we try to bring you the up-to-date information in the real estate market, where the market's going up, market's going down. Here it is summer. Waterfront properties are at their peak. Yes, waterfront properties. When is the right time? It is now, right? When is the right time to sell? It is now, right? If you're buying, when is it time to buy? It's now. It is real estate mode. We have been slam-packed last week. So much going on. I know everybody's battling this word I won't mention, right? And there's so much going on in the news. So we try to stay away from the news and try to bring you positive, upbeat news, what's going on in the real estate market. Let me tell you about Knoxville before we get into our show. And we got a good show for you. So with the stock market, everything going a little bit all over the board, where do you invest? Where do you put your retirement? And that's going to be the topic of our show today. We're talking about how do you flip a house? How do you renovate a house, maybe make a little money, maybe you diversify. They say never put all your eggs in one basket, right? So we have a little stock money, a little 401k. Maybe it's time to get into a little real estate. Ever thought about investing in real estate? Well, there's a short-term gain. And then there's a long term. So short term would be flipping a home, renovating it and, buying it at a really good deal and selling it for profit. That's what the real estate industry calls a flip, if you haven't heard of it. And then we have our rental, long-term investment, where we rent it out and our tenants are going to pay for the property for long periods of time. And that's another opportunity to build some wealth in the real estate market. Today's show is talking about flipping a home. But what we have seen since the markets have really kind of opened back and we as a county have opened back up, is that slowly but steadily we're starting to see some contracts. We've been extremely busy. I think we worked on 4 or 5 yesterday. And so we're seeing that push, with the inventory that's out there. Across the board we have the issue of shortages. It's just going to happen right now. Some of the inventory, I looked on the MLS the other day, said we were at under 3, like 2 months of supplies, two and some change of supply. So if you know anything about the real estate market or how that works, basically, if we never sold another house, we have just a couple months of inventory on the market, and then there's no more. Poof, it's gone. No homes for sale. So we won't see that, but that's where we're at. Normal, healthy market, as we always say, is 6 months of inventory. So as sellers, you have a great opportunity. Buyers, challenging, right? Challenging. We have a lot of out-of-state buyers coming in, and that opportunity to find the right property at the right price can be frustrating. One of the things we're working with our clients on now, and one of the big challenges is listing that home and finding the next home. But I promise you, as we basically are in the end of the spring market going into the summer, this is where a lot of activity is going to happen. This is where your most selection of properties are going to come on the market. And so I think that there's going to be a strong ending to the rest of the year, and rates are about as low as they can get. I think Daniel and I were chatting before, and somewhere in the 2s, somewhere high 2s, you could do a 15-year mortgage. That's my lender, Chris, says he's never seen anything like it in his life. This is probably some of the best deals that you're ever going to obtain. And tying into that, if the money is very, very, very affordable, right, very, very cheap, makes an opportunity to invest in real estate. So whether you're in large properties, multifamily, or single family, now you can borrow money and leverage, and we're talking about working that leverage for you and hopefully adding to your retirement. So let's talk about flipping a home, investments. We'll use our friend Dave Ramsey here. We have an article that we're going to go through some of the articles that he pointed out, 5 or 6 points, what's important about flipping a home. How do you make a profit? How do you do it and keep your sanity? If you're married, guys, and you've ever renovated a house, that can be challenging. Not only challenging business-wise, but me and my wife do it marriage-wise, picking out things. Everybody has to stay in their lane, right? And so we've done that. And so sometimes flipping a house as a couple is an exciting thing. Some things I want to talk about and how you need to go about the whole process. So let's talk about flipping a house first. What is that process? When you flip a home, it's for a profit. So ideally, if you've ever seen properties, usually you're going to locate properties that have some kind of either distress or there's a great deal. Well, as I mentioned earlier in the show, the inventory is a little bit lower. So just depending on pricing is everything in this market and the right agent marketing it. But let's say, okay, first, I want to look for an investment deal, Ryan. I want to buy something where I can diversify my stocks and buy real estate. How do I start? Where do I start? Some great options to start are auctions. Obviously auction properties are where they're auctioning properties where the banks have actually foreclosed on them, tax sales, sometimes they're estates, sometimes they were on the market for a while and just have not been successful selling in the open market. Or we have our last one where owners just want a quick sale. They don't want to go through the marketing process, and then they auction it off. So those are some great ways to find properties. Also, we have a lot of our properties that are listed with other agents in the marketplace that are our bank foreclosures, sometimes short sales, where basically the homeowner is either got behind or some payments, and they need to sell it at a discount. So these are opportunities that you can start in the marketplace to look for those. And never forget, you have the for sale by owners out there or the private owners that are selling their homes by themselves. Maybe it's a really good deal. Maybe they don't want to work with an agent. Maybe it's one of those things where they just are tired of the upkeep and the maintenance of the property. And, I was meeting with somebody yesterday, great clients, future clients, hopefully. And he said, Ryan, I mow 4 or 5 acres on my daughter's property. And then I come back and do all this work on this property. And he goes, I'm 75. And he says, I'm just over it. And see, there's a time and season. We always talk about there's a time and season for real estate. And you catch somebody at the right time, the right opportunity, then you're going to find that property where they're just ready to sell it. And maybe that means for you as a buyer, you get a good deal. So why is it important to find these properties? Well, in this market, they go quickly. So there's a lot of investors just like you. And if this is your first deal, you need some help. I always recommend, number one, having a good agent, working with an agent to help you scurry the marketplace, the auctions, the process, the title work involved, maybe finding some of these deals. We have a lot of deals that are off market. Maybe they're going to be listed or knowing about something coming soon. Some of the best deals as an investor are the ones you never hear about, right? Whether it's properties we've bought, properties from other agents and contacts with real estate investment groups. We do a lot of BB business networking. And so it's the properties you never hear about. And so networking is key to finding the best property. But the goal in starting out when renovating a house is buy it below market value. Next step is, where do you go from there? Well, first and foremost, you got to evaluate the property. And the most important 2 things when renovating a property or buying a flip, and it's not doing the work, and you believe it or not, it's not managing the project. The money is made where you buy the deal and where it's going to sell. Only 2 numbers that really matter. Now, the variable in that is, if you get into a bidding war, you get into an auction, and you buy the property at the wrong price, and we didn't allow for the budget, we didn't allow that the market's changing, things can happen, right? Everything that's going on in the market now could affect prices, and you didn't have enough margin, well, now we have an issue. Now that's where we have an issue where we didn't have the right budget, we didn't manage it right, and then we misgauged what the market was going to sell for. So getting with a great agent that has experience in renovating or flipping properties, or investors that can walk you through that process, knowing the start and ending date of what it should sell for within, 2 or 3 percentage points of the sales price, you should be about a 98%, 97% to be there. So starting with that's important. What do we do with the financing? How do we, once we find the property, how do we finance it? How do we get, Do the sellers do financing? Do we go to a bank and get a loan? These are really great questions. The best thing is on some of the properties, each property will dictate whether there's financing or it's cash, or maybe there is none of those options. Some of our tax sales, it's basically an all cash deal. You have to basically get your title down there on the deed and do your homework prior to showing up. So all these fun things. Look, we're running into a break. We're talking more about flipping a home after the break. You guys stay with us.
When it comes to the real estate market, turn to the experts that focus on you. With over 20 years experience, Ryan Coleman with Hometown Realty knows what it takes. It's the right marketing. It's the right exposure. Ryan and April will use their expertise each step as they guide you through the home buying and selling process. Ultimately, it's about results.
You need someone you can trust that is committed to you.
You have a lot of choices, but the choice is simple. It's Hometown Realty.
Your friend promised we wouldn't be homeless.
He promised. He's doing everything to fix it.
You need to call and have him fix it now.
Hey, ma'am.
Found us a house.
No, not yet. Let me call you back. We're working on it.
Ryan Coleman with Hometown Realty.
He says he's doing the best he can do, honey.
Well, he's taken too long. I knew we should have gone with Ryan Coleman.
Choosing the right agent is never easy.
Call your hometown experts. We'll take care of all the details and make sure you don't get stuck in a motel. All right, we're back in the studios. A little break, thank you. We're talking about a little real estate here. Real estate with Ryan, talking about how to flip a home. And want to also, if you guys are tuning in for the first time, want to let you know that we are proud corporate sponsors of University of Tennessee Athletic Department. Go Vols. That happened last week, I know, with everything going on, and proud to be a corporate sponsor with the Vols. Excited for what it's going to bring to our business, excited what it's to bring for the exposure, helping our buyers and sellers, and excited to be a Vol. No hidden agenda there, right? So we're super excited here at Hometown Realty and my team, and everybody's super stoked about it. So I think we even got an opportunity to get some really good seats. I'm just hoping we play some football this fall, if you're like me, but we will see. But one way or another, hopefully we're watching our Vols coming up this fall. So thank you for tuning in. Again, if you ever need us, if you're tuning in for the first time, if you're this topic, you're thinking about real estate investing, if you're thinking about buying or selling, we're here to help you. It's an easy number. It's 693-SOLD, or you can always go to my website at your convenience. It's ryancoleman.org. We've got these shows on there. We've got our blogs on there. We've got some of our great clients here in East Tennessee. And we've got information about buying, selling, more specifically with everything going on now in the COVID-19 and things like that. We've got information on how we can still help you, that we're meeting with technology, how we're leveraging across the U.S. on some places that are not open, right? And how we're able to hit those markets and market your property or expose to buyers out of state. We just sold 2 this week, sight unseen through our technology, and allowing our sellers to get them sold and helping a buyer buy something downtown. So if you're looking for change, and obviously the market is changing, if you're needing a great agent, we know a couple people here. We have some opportunity on my team to help you with that process, and we'd be honored to work with you. Let's get back on the show. We're talking about flipping a home. We're talking about the finance, we're talking about the money. How do you finance things? In this show, we can talk forever. I love flipping and renovating real estate, so I'll try to cover a lot of points here. But keep in mind, when you're renovating property, it's understanding that some things on the bank, when you buy one, they require cash or they won't do financing. Some of the properties online will require a big deposit and no contingencies. Most all of these deals are banks sold as is, okay? That means as is, where is. Sometimes that means there's tenants in the property. So one of the biggest issues that you may face is knowing your numbers, number one, knowing what you're going to buy it for, what is a good deal, what's your exit strategy. Number two, how can I get it financed? If you're paying cash, it's simple. Our friend Dave Ramsey, he says cash is king. That's always the best way to do it. Sometimes that's not possible. It's not feasible, or you don't want to liquidate all your cash in a market like today and you want to leverage it. So we can get financing. Couple of suggestions that I would do. If you have any property for a home equity line or investment property, you can pull an equity line to set up. Make sure you're very careful with that, especially if it's your home, your actual primary residence. I would prefer using an investment property. Right now, there's some opportunity in the stock market with the CARES Act. I won't get into the advice on that. Not suggesting this is what you do, okay? But there's opportunities to borrow from your 401k or your retirement plan with no penalties or tax for a period of time. Check with your CPA on that. But there's opportunities out there, and of course you can get a conventional mortgage or a renovation mortgage, which are great opportunities. Here's an example that if you don't manage the property right, this could be your flip, and this is not what we want to do on a flip. So let's say we bought a property for $185,000. Let me rephrase that. We bought it for $130,000. We sold it for $185,000. We went into the property, had some renovation cost, and before you know it, things just start going over and over and up and up and up, and our renovation costs were $33,000. We financed the deal. Had a couple months on the market, a deal fell through. Real estate happened. We had $4,240 in interest and carrying cost. Then we did the home inspection. We had a couple $1,000s in repairs. Then we had some real estate commission, closing cost. And at the end of the day, your profit was $760. So that is an example of flipping a home when it goes wrong. You want to make sure when you buy a property that you make sure you know the neighborhoods, you know the area. And it can be tempting to think that a property is a good deal, but remember, real estate's always about location, location, location. Check your neighborhoods. Watch for traffic of resales. See what the pride of ownership in the neighborhood is. Check your neighbors. One of the biggest mistakes you can do is not doing a drive-by, buying something sight unseen, doing a Google Earth, or doing a brief drive-by late in the evening. You want to make sure that you drive by the property to get a feel of the neighbors and pride of ownership. One of the biggest things, we helped an investor the other day, and there was a tenant next door. He bought the property, renovated it. We put it under contract, but the neighbor comes out with her 3 pit bulls off the leash and let the agent and the buyer know that she keeps the pit bulls off the leash all the time. And that's how things happen. Almost lost the sale. So these are things that you really have to watch. I've bought properties in the past where we've bought something and I should have looked carefully about the neighbor, whether it's very poor upkeep. We've had a variety of issues, right? Where the neighbor, we just helped somebody selling Farragut. The neighbor hasn't mowed his grass in forever. He's not taking pride in his home. And she's got a beautiful $400,000 house. And you move next to it and the neighbors pull up, new potential buyers pull up, and they're like, what's going on with the neighbors? And guess what? It's an HOA. And the HOA won't even do anything. Does it? Really strange. They actually got the city involved. So Farragut got involved and helped her out. But those things, when you're selling a property, you bought it right, the resale was there, and you didn't allow for that factor of the neighbor. You have to personally inspect the property. You can't send an assistant by. You can't send a team member. And guys, you have to be involved in that project, and you have to put your eyes on it. Know the market. Know the high end. If we're going in this market now, in the luxury market, track it for the last 6 months, 12 months. Look at the pendings. In today's market, it's never about what is sold 6 months ago. Anybody that's giving you data 6 months ago is old news. You need information that's in the last couple of weeks or the last week. And that's going to tell you what buyers are willing to pay. That's going to tell you where the market's trending up or trending down. Very, very important things to do. A big thing. Number 3, flip with the budget. You wouldn't think Dave Ramsey would talk about not having a budget, would you? Of course we're going to talk about budget and the opportunity to stay on budget. Managing construction or a project is tedious. The number one thing is dealing with your subcontractors and battling all those numbers and keeping them together. It can be a nightmare. Keeping all of the paperwork, keeping track of the contractors is an absolute pain. That's why they say flipping on a budget, it's very challenging. One of the biggest things that you're going to run into a market like this that is kind of healthy and things are moving, the construction industry is moving, is finding subcontractors to do the work. I know we've talked to several clients now. Not only is the market good, but we have the corona going on and people are not working and there's unemployment and people are sitting back getting unemployment and not working. And so we're finding good people that are not on construction sites, that are not in high demand, you have a challenge of finding good people. And that's frustrating because if on budget, the next guy is 10% or 20% higher in every bid, that just blew your budget. You have to allow for that. And if this is your first flip, you need to do your homework on what a plumbing renovation will cost, or a plumbing repair, or a new roof. How many squares does a roof have? What is the average cost to put a shingle, whether it's dimensional or 3-tab? If you're ripping the roof off, new plywood, what is new plywood repair going to be? If we're putting in a new HVAC, if it's a heat pump, what is the HVAC cost going to be? If we're framing up walls, what are we doing price per square foot? Carpet, flooring, what's a flooring budget? Kitchen budget. All these things are very important. Also, when you make renovations, you got to do smart renovations. Don't do things that you would like to do. Do things that are going to add value. You and I both know, guys, that kitchens and baths sell for the ladies, of course. And we know that more than likely that if my wife doesn't like the kitchens and baths and she's not happy, we're probably not going to be happy. And so we know that those are going to sell, that curb appeal, making sure we're focusing on things that when we spend money that we get a return. That if the old dingy carpet and we upgrade it with something that's neutral, but we don't need to go $5 a square foot on a $200,000 house. Does that make sense? The $1.25 at Home Depot is just as good and gets the impact. And at the end of the day, get a great agent to help you on the resale. Timing is everything in the market. And that's our show. It's running quickly. As always, we like to be with you every Saturday. My name is Ryan Coleman with Hometown Realty. You can reach me at 693-SOLD or ryancoleman.org. Have a great weekend.